Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we have another tool review video. We're going to be reviewing this Induction Innovations Mini Ductor HP Venom. This is basically a flameless heating device used to heat up nuts and bolts and fasteners on a vehicle. And we're going to go over this thing today. Now before we go ahead and do so guys, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button down below and definitely smash that like button because it helps the channel out. With that said, let's go ahead and get into today's tool review. We are looking at our tool, and this is how it comes in this box. It's really nice. The only thing that I hate about this box, if you notice that I had to put up arrows on it because it looks exactly the same way on both sides, you can easily confuse it, but that's neither here nor there. That's just something that I thought was kind of funny and weird at the same time because they put a sticker on both sides. Typically there's only one, but anyway, aside from the box, it's really sturdy, really nice carrying case, so that's always a plus. You don't want to just have this tool laying around. You want to have it in a case so it doesn't get dropped and broken and things of that nature. So when we open up our case, what we're going to have is our mini ductor or Venom HP, whatever you prefer to call it. I'm just going to call it a heater for the video purpose sake because that's what it is. And if we pull it out, you guys can see we have the tool and it has the cable that you plug into it. And we're going to set this to the side. Now this did come with some attachments. The first one that it came with is this wraparound coil attachment where you can just basically form it around anything that you'd like. And the other attachment that it came with is this one that I've used quite a bit here. This is for nuts and bolts. Basically, you put the bolt head in there or the nut head and you basically heat it up. I've used this one extensively and I really haven't used this one because this is mainly what you typically will use. But they give you two accessories right in the box. Other than that, you get this felt pad, which I'm assuming is here to keep this device from moving. And then you have your directions and your warranty card, you know, things of that nature that you typically get with a tool like this. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and put the wraparound one back in the box, and we're just going to be using this one here. And we're going to go ahead and close up this box, set it to the side. Now I have my heater on the bench and we're going to go over a few little things, and they do make a couple variations to this guys, and there are a lot of I guess you can say cheapies on the market. This is a credible company and I owned one of these before, not a mini ductor. I owned a cheaper variant that I bought off Amazon, and that thing worked for a couple months and it basically just crapped out on me. And previous to that, I did have issues with the same exact item that I ordered. They had to, you know, send me another one. So I finally got tired of dealing with all that. I decided to just step up to the name brand big boy company that has been doing this for years, which is this particular one. And they make two variants to this. There's a straight one, which is a cheaper, the original one, and then this is the newest, the Venom HP. And I like this one because it has a lot of nice features that make it real quick and easy to use. And I like the fact that it's in a gun configuration, kind of a handle. It's very ergonomic. That's what I absolutely love about it. Now you have a nice sizable cord here, but what I always find is that you're going to be needing an extension cord when using it, so make sure you have a nice quality extension cord. I kind of wish this was a little bit longer, but at the end of the day, you know, they just give you enough, I guess is the best way to put it. But typically my outlets compared to my lift where my cars are at that I'm working on them, you're going to need a nice heavy gauge extension cable because this does draw in some power. Just be mindful of that. Now that we talked about the cord, let's go over some variations and options on the tool. Now it's pretty basic guys. It's a really easy tool. You have your trigger right here to go ahead and turn on the machine. This does not stay on by itself. You have to keep the trigger pulled in order to start heating the element. We have this little rocker switch here which is controlling the LED light that is built right into the front here. I find that it's nice to use when you're trying to find your bolt if you don't have adequate lighting, but when I'm heating up a bolt, I find that if I leave it on, it kind of blocks me from viewing the bolt as far as if it's getting cherry red or not, which is the goal when you use this tool, to cherry it, because that light on there does you know, keep it from showing cherry red. But I typically keep it off, not a big deal. It's a nice accessory or a nice thing to have with it. Now the biggest upgrade that I love about this is this chuck right here. When you want to lock in your different heating elements that you're going to be using, because there's a variety of these that you can get, all you have to do is insert it in here and lock it in, and it's ready to go just like that. And just to give you guys a demo on this, all you're gonna do, and now this tool has been used, guys, so you just put it in place like that, lock it in, it's nice and tight, and you are ready to rock and roll and heat up your bolts. It's just that simple. Now, one disadvantage to this I already mentioned is the cord. It's kind of short. The other thing that I want to, I guess you can say, talk about or have a little bit of a gripe on is the cost of these elements here. What this element is basically made out of is metal, like a copper wire almost. Don't quote me on that, but from my eyes, it's basically a really thick gauge copper wire. And sometimes these, if you buy them from the company that makes this tool, they can be very pricey, almost to the point where they're gouging you on these things. I've seen them for like 80 bucks just for one of them. And there is an alternative that you can go online and you can buy a set of them from other companies that replicate them. I don't know if the quality is going to be the same. I did wind up buying coils from an aftermarket company. I haven't gotten a chance to use them yet because this original one that it came with has been serving me pretty well. I have used it quite a bit here, almost for 5 or 6 months now. Few times a month, and it's holding up pretty good. But these are the wearable part of it. Depending on how you use it and if you're using it correctly, you can actually wear these out quickly or less quickly. It all depends on, again, how you choose to do it. But if you find yourself being really good with the tool, taking care of it, and not doing the wrong things with the coil, it will last. I've had to do a few things that I had to literally touch it on there, and that's why mine is a little bit, as you can say, looking like this. But I've gotten a lot of good use out of this. Every time I've used it, except for the past couple months, it's been great. And even right now, this still works pretty good. Although I do think it's time to change this head. And after I do this tool review, I will probably be swapping this out. With everything that we just went through, I showed you the tool. What we're gonna do is go ahead, plug it in. Now I'm gonna have a mock-up bolt, guys, which is going to be this. I don't have any rusted fasteners or anything that I could show you of it loosening it up, but I figured a new nut and bolt is going to be nice, and you guys can see it in action and how it works. So I'm gonna get the set up, get my tool plugged in, and we're gonna go ahead and heat up that nut. When you plug it in initially, there is not going to be any noise from the machine. You can tell if it's plugged in correctly just by turning the LED light, and you guys can see by turning the switch on and off. That's how you control that. When you first pull the trigger to start heating stuff up, you guys will hear that the fan will start running on it, and typically that fan will run afterwards to cool down the unit. I don't like playing with the hear the fans kick on and stay on afterwards. So with my mock-up bolt on my vice grip, what I want to do, and again, my tip here, for video purpose, once you're over it, you're going to go ahead and have heated up our nut. Look at that thing, it is glowing cherry red, and it does this with all different sizes of bolts. The bigger the bolt, the longer it takes on the heating side for it to get cherry red, but I've used this it does take, but typically it doesn't take that long even on the bigger, thicker sized bolts for it. It does work pretty rapidly. And one thing I want to mention now, after we used it, I'll put it close to the camera. I don't know if you guys hear it, but the fan always stays on and hums for a little bit afterwards. It's going to help cool down the unit, so that way everything internally is nice. And you want to be careful with this tool, guys. It is very easy to get carried away. This is electrical and power that's going through this thing. You definitely don't want to misuse this. Like, I don't suggest you put your finger or anything in there and try to turn it on. I don't know what would happen with that, but definitely use this tool in the correct manner. Don't just be dumb about it and, do, I guess you can say, idiotic things. The way I like to use it is after I'm done using it, I will leave it plugged in until it cools down the unit itself. And after the fan shuts off and the unit cools down, I will unplug it and then I will change out my tip or remove my tip depending on what I'm going to be doing with it. Now, a lot of you may be wondering, Mike, why do I need this tool? Because these are really pricey. And we're going to talk about that right now. So this model itself, guys, at the time that I bought it, I think it was around $650. And when I say this and you guys are viewing this video, I'm not recommending that everybody go out and buy this. By all means, it is a very expensive tool and it only does one purpose. So unless you're heating up a lot of bolts and you're always moving around and you always have electricity, this would be a good alternative to a gas torch. But honestly, I have both in my shop and one cannot replace the other. These are both really good at what they do, but they both have their limitations. Torch has limitations, this has limitations, just like everything in the modern world. But it's a great tool if you can afford it to have in your toolbox because it makes life really easy. The best thing about this, the reason why I own one of these is not because I have extra money and I can just go ahead and buy tools. It actually took me a little bit. Like I said, I bought a couple cheaper knockoff versions of this prior to buying this one. And after messing around with those and seeing how great it is to actually have one of these that works while those were working, I decided to pony up the dough and buy this one because it is very crucial. It saves me time. And since I own and operate a shop, if I'm able to save an hour out of my day fighting a bolt that I can't heat up but I can use this on it, it's a great alternative and I wind up saving money even though this initially is costing me money up front. And it's an investment. I'm using it. I'm in an active shop. So I will eventually get my money back on this. If you are a DIYer and you're doing small stuff, I probably don't recommend buying this unless you just have the extra funds to do so. So I'm not saying everybody go out, you must buy this. It's just a really good tool to have if you have the funds and you're going to be using it. Because it would be a shame to buy this and just let it sit and not use it, obviously. You don't want to buy tools that you don't use. Now, the alternatives to this and the reason why I like using this, I have an oxyacetylene torch in my shop. It's always ready to go whenever I need it. And the reason why I like this tool, guys, is for the bolts where you cannot use a torch. Bolts that are really close to, let's say, things like rubber bushings or some sort of bellows boot on the suspension, this tool is very useful. And I've used it several times and it works great. But the biggest reason why I bought this particular one is due to gas tank bolts. I happen to do a lot of GM fuel pumps, and sometimes the straps holding on the tank, the bolts are really rotted, and you have to heat them up. But unfortunately, if you're working on a fuel pump, you do not want to take your torch and just start heating stuff up. That would, let's just say, be a disaster for lack of better words. And the only way to heat those up without catching fire or starting a fire would be something like this. Now, I'm not saying this is foolproof and that this cannot start a fire or won't cause any damage if incorrectly used, but you're using electricity to warm it up. You're not using an open flame, therefore you shouldn't create too much of an issue as long as you're using it properly and you got everything ready to go. That is what I mainly bought this for, but since I bought it for that, I have been using it on other things because this thing was expensive, and this cost a lot less to operate than an oxyacetylene torch. So I have been tending to use this a little bit more now, especially since it did cost me quite a pretty penny. I'm just trying to recoup my money on it and use it on as many jobs as I can that require heating up. And it saves me money because electricity is a little bit cheaper than buying the oxyacetylene torch gases. But like I said, guys, this is neither here nor there when it comes to a torch. I would not replace my oxyacetylene torch for this because, like I said, this does have its limitations. You need a mixture of both, and being an active shop, I have quite a bunch of different torches. I mean, I use this product right here as a heater. I have the oxyacetylene torch. I have propane torches. I have MAP gas torches. I even have little like restaurant style mini torches that I use. Anything that can heat something up, I like to have a variety of it. And so far, this is the best and safest when it comes to things that you can't quite take an open flame to, and that is what I mainly bought it for, but has proven useful even for other items as well. And I absolutely love it. It's a great tool if you're able to afford one, reasonably, and not get yourself underwater. This tool is absolutely a must, especially if you guys own a small shop out there. Maybe your insurance companies don't allow you to have a open torch or open flame in your garage. Well, this is a great alternative to that. It is expensive, but you will be able to get your money back on it quite quickly, because I remember back in the day when these first started being made in my earlier career days, I worked at a shop that didn't want to pony up the dough for the flame insurance for having a torch in the building, and this was the alternative that they had. And they had a few of these, the older style, and they worked flawlessly, and I always loved using them. It was a great tool to have. So for those of you guys in states or places where the insurance is really expensive, if you own a torch in your shop, this is a great alternative for that. So other than that, guys, it's pretty much real easy. This is the tool as it's shown in front of you guys. There's not too much more that I can say. It's not like it does anything more than just heating stuff up. So with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the review here and just say it's great if you can afford it, and if you plan on using it, it'll save you money, and it's great for those places where you cannot have an open flame. So with that said, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Please comment, like, and subscribe, because it definitely helps the channel grow. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.